Hello, hello. Welcome to today's broadcast. So, we're starting off today's long R stream. So, if this has been watched on YouTube, then hello. Oh, long R. There we go. I'm hearing myself because I forgot to mute on Twitch. So yes, so we're starting today's long day of streaming. So we're going to do an hour on a bunch of different games. Our first game today is going to be CNC Rivals. We're going to Modern Combat 5 a little later on, and then to finish out with some Yakuza, which is a lot of fun. So for any of you guys who haven't seen CNC Rivals before, it's a mobile free-to-play strategy game. It's relatively unique in that there aren't very many games on mobile that have tried to do strategy games outside of really turn-based stuff or tug-of-war style games, which are kind of a little bit hands-off. Whereas for Rivals, I know that the mobile versions of popular franchises, especially franchises that haven't necessarily been treated incredibly well, like Command & Conquer, are not popular prospects. But for some reason, the Rivals is actually surprisingly good in terms of the kind of stuff that you would see. The kind of level of play you will be able to see, and I'll show you some of the replays rather than trying to play and talk at the same time, because it's a somewhat complicated game. It's a combination of being Hey, Chopsky! Wait, Chopsky, you play this game as well? D1 Scrub? Wait, which level? I swear... Okay, this will be an aside just for Chopsky. I swear I'm staying at Diamond 1, which is my current rank, because the Champions, which is like basically a bonus league, I'm close to getting it into Master League, and that means that everybody I play in this bonus league will be a lot better than me. Whereas if I stay just below Master League until this begins, then all of my sort of reward leagues are okay. Okay, that doesn't matter then. So I'll reset a little bit. So yeah. So this is. I genuinely get the impression that developers actually care about this game. Like, there's every reason to expect for this to be completely a cash grab. And it's worth going into a little bit how the monetization works in this game. So, the game itself is genuinely free to play. The caveat to that is that there is a lot of grinding. So, let me show you what's involved. Oh, Kamwala. I would recommend prioritizing your exams over watching my streams, definitely. So, you'll see here, we've got lots of different units. So, actually, I should probably go over some of the basic ideas that are in play in this game. So, you'll notice there's a lot of different units. So, we've got NOD, we've got GDI, so all familiar stuff if you're a CNC player before. Basically, if you're not, GDI being, I think, pretty much universally the good guys, and NOD being a crazed cult full of nutters. There are some units which are exactly the same between the sides. Oh, Kamwala, I see you're free now. Well, that's good. I hope you enjoy the streams today. So again, what we're doing, CNC Rivals, then a Modern Combat 5, then Yakuza. So yes, so we have different. So you have the basic units. You've got your Rifleman, who's pretty standard, very basic infantry. You've got missile guys. You've got shockwave troopers or flamethrowers, if you're on the NOD, which are broadly all the same units. Where they diverge is there's different ones that come out of the War Factory and stuff, but see, there's some units which are roughly equivalent and some units which are very different. So the reason any of this stuff matters is that it's not a deck building game per se, but you have to go into a match with a certain quantity of units. So 6, you choose 6 from this whole selection. So you could choose 6 of your strongest units, which are the Tech Lab or Temple of Nod units, to go into the game. But the difference between them is, and it's for some reason it's not actually listed on this main view, is, say, a big old flame tank costs, where's the cost? There you go, 110. Whereas a militia costs 10. So yeah, that's the difference between the two. It's very similar to General Zero Hour, yes. So I'll do some more of the explanations in the context of actual games, because I know this isn't the most fun to just watch me looking at army screens. So let's just find somebody.
Establishing battlefield control.
Oh, Chopsky, if you come across to... I'll just post a link to my YouTube channel, because I think that's where everybody else is at the moment. Hey Darksil, hi, hope you're doing well. Oh, well you've got Darksil and Chopsky, you can talk to each other now, that's okay. So, alright, so what we're looking at here, a few different things. So, important stuff is we've got our bases over here and over here. We've got our harvesters, which correct us Tiberium, and we can spend that on units. And we've got pads. You'll notice there's a central missile thing here. So whenever somebody... It's like a King of the Hill going on. Hey Saga! I stopped looking at the screen just as you typed, so... Oh, Chopsky. Oh, what's that program? That sounds really useful. So Chopsky is talking about a program that you can use to bridge Twitch chat and YouTube chat so everyone sees everything. That sounds incredibly useful. Alright, so this is going to be a very, very one-sided game, but let me get some of the basic stuff. So, there's a King of the Hill sort of thing going on. Oh, Chopsky, is it something that someone can, like, buy off you guys? Because that sounds really useful. So yeah, so as you'll see here, so you've got the two pads, this King of the Hill idea. So if both teams have got someone on these two pads, then you'll see that the bar is yellow, it's not charging. But as soon as one of those pads is contested and someone else has got control, so you know, so in this case red has got a pad and contested, so it charges up. You'll see this bar get all the way up towards the top. Where it gets to this bit here is where it's most important. Yes, this game is actually pretty good. So where a lot of strategy comes into the game is that you'll notice it's getting charged up higher and higher. Usually people do more to compete over pads. This is CNC Rivals, Kamwala. It's a free-to-play strategy game that I'm currently been playing quite a lot of. So you see, okay, so it's going to go over this. Once it gets over this point, once it hits the top, then the missile will fire and do half a base of damage. So you don't have to engage in this King of the Hill stuff, and you can just attack bases directly. But as you'll see, Blue's kind of harassing harvesters, which will give him some bonus Tiberium. And no one's really going after the missile stuff at all, which this is Gold League, so it's being played at a much, much lower level. So people probably should be going after the points. So there's elements of which units you've brought to the field. So, for example, Piotr has got Tick Tanks, which you might remember from the Tiberium games. They burrow into the ground, become very hard to defeat, whereas Banshee's over for Viper 1 flying units, which Tick Tanks, as you'll see here, Tick Tanks can't actually even hit them. However, Cyborgs definitely can hit air units, and they actually completely destroy them. Kamwala, you play FIFA Mobile 19. Oh, is that good? I like playing football games. I don't really understand football very well, but football games tend to be quite entertaining. So there we go. The first missile fired while I was looking at the chat did half the base's damage. So I think Viper 1 is probably quite a lot better than Piotr is in this situation. But you can see the air units can hit each other. Some ground units can hit air units. So there's a lot of army composition come into a game because you can only choose 6 units. Attacker Gaming, I tried Fortnite, I was pretty terrible at it, so I decided to leave it to people who are better at these kind of things. I might come back to it and give it another try at some point. I think it might be one of those games that's better if you are playing it with a particular group of people. So, Blue's probably going to win this one. You can see... Darksil, it actually is very similar to StarCraft. That's one of the reasons why I really liked it, is because the way it plays, like... You know, a lot of strategy games, as I said, will be a tug of war, where you just build units and you send them out to work here. But you can though you can only have a maximum of 6 units out on the field at any given time. The amount of micro you can put into the game is really impressive. Like, it makes such a difference as to, you know, where and when each of the units fights. And I mean, this is not the best example, so let's get out of here. But let's show you guys something at the top level, because this is going to be much more confusing, but also good as, hopefully. my emulator doesn't crash. There we go. Taco. Oh, I see. You want to be here for the MC5 stuff. Unfortunately, I've already put out the announcement saying that at the times I'm going to be doing stuff, but I will try and come back to it. Yes, Chopsky and Darkseal. This as well. The Rivals is just about to get a pretty good spectator mode improvements. Oh, okay. So here, Chopsky and everyone else, here's an example of how some of the ways that you can play really cleverly. So Aramis Master used his militia, his basic infantry, to step on the Tiberium to stop the Harvester from actually going there. So, like, and also pressuring the Harvester up the top. So while Dog Bomb's got some basic infantry which you can use to kill those missile guys, Orimos is charging up the missile. The Banshee's coming in, which will deal with the Talon helicopter relatively well, but it's worth noting that the Banshee is relatively expensive, whereas the Talon is extremely cheap. So you'll see at this sort of top level of play that people are doing a lot to try and maximize their return on each of their units. So you've got stuff like bombers and everything. There's a huge amount of variety of units in it. They keep adding more in as well. So yeah, like, genuinely, this is going to be something which I'm going to be looking at quite a lot more, because it is, like, yeah, it's a lot better of a game than it needed to be. In a little bit, I'll be actually... Chopsky, the controls work pretty well on a tablet or on a phone. There were people who were playing at the recent event who were playing on phones and were doing perfectly fine. I think because there's very little, you know, as long as you've got good precision with your fingers, then there's actually no real disadvantage. So there's some of the more fancy units, like this is the Inferno, which fires out a massive fireball but costs a lot of money. So a lot of time the game can be over before these big high tier units come out if you play it in a certain way. But that's another thing that's kind of like part of the game itself is, you know, do you go aggressive early? Yeah, but yeah, Chopsky, I know people have been having this discussion about whether or not it's okay to play on an emulator, and like I think some people are against it, but I don't think you get any functional advantage for playing with a mouse because precision isn't really that big of a deal in the game. Like, I'm playing it on PC because it's easier for streaming purposes, but I don't think, like, you wouldn't get a faster reaction times or anything. I think the precision is a factor, but I'd say it's probably less a factor. So, this is one of the kind of interesting tactical aspects of the game, is you'll see that Dug Bomb is just attacking the base, so kind of ignoring the whole King of the Hill mechanic of these pads here, and then wins. So there's a lot going on. Yeah, play on a phone with a mouse plugged in, I think it's fine. Like, playing with just your fingers is also absolutely fine as well. Yes, you can X-Peke people.
I want to mess it up.
Oh, hello, I think I've had someone's... I left someone's stream open by accident. I have.
Oh, I missed.
Why did that stop playing? How odd. Hello, Darkseal. Like, if you like StarCraft, then you will probably like this game. Like, genuinely. Like, I used to really enjoy playing with a friend of mine, Pete Ward. We used to play micro battles where you just, you know, you'd have a couple of units and you play against each other. And it was really fun, though I got my ass kicked again and again. But, like, it does feel like you're playing StarCraft. So let me... Okay, let me... Yeah, I'm playing on an emulator, I'm playing on LD Player. You can get it on Android and iOS at the moment, but I don't believe there's any particular injunction against using it on an emulator at the moment. I mean, theoretically I could use it on my iPad and then use AirServer to get it onto my PC, but this means I'm not like this the entire time, and I'm not a huge fan of streamers who completely lose eye contact with the audience because they're looking down. I've actually found it harder to play on PC than everything else. Okay, so let's show off some games of me playing it, and let's see if I do appallingly badly. All right, what do I got? So you could, once you've leveled up a little bit, you get a choice of a few different armies. I think I did try Nox Chopsky, but maybe I didn't try it for Rivals. I don't know, LD player seems to work fine. I've heard that Nox is good as well. So you have a few different kind of army setups. That one was a bit experimental. Alright, let's give this a try. So this is a deck based around relatively early game units. So we're battling at... So you go through the various different leagues. So you start off in the Iron League. No, actually, I think below that there's a Training League, yes. A Training League. And you go up through Bronze, Silver, Gold, Platinum, which we're at the moment. Oh no, we're at Diamond. Into Master League, and then you get to the Tiberium League, which is the highest capped league. That's where you're kind of talking about the major streamers and stuff. They play there in a kind of their own sort of division, where you can, you'll have rankings and things that people are trying to get into the top ranking. But we're nowhere near that. So it's, Saga, it's somewhat like a Zerg Rush, but I suspect probably what would be the closest equivalent of Zerg rushing someone in Rivals would be trying to blow up their base very, very quickly, which is possible, but it's quite risky. I suppose the other thing is Harvester rushing is probably that's probably the closest equivalent. So people build anti-vehicle bikes from the Nod side, and they will just rush. So that's the reason why in this game we'll have some cheap units which we can use to go scouting, because if we don't, there's a possibility that we'll just lose to someone. Well, actually, we don't have cheap units. Oh man, I forgot. Okay, I chose the wrong thing. Never mind. So first thing in the game which you generally want to do is to find out what is my opponent doing. So, okay, they haven't gone for a bike rush, which is good. So we can get our own harvester out. So there is a little bit of a disadvantage in not just building your harvester straight away, but that's kind of offset by not building the wrong units. So one of the other aspects of the game that makes it interesting is that there is the population down there. So as you build units, you'll notice this goes up, and the more of those 6 slots you have filled in, the more time it takes to get your other units. So I'm just going to try and do all this stuff while thinking at the same time. So what we're going to be doing here is probably losing. Oh geez, this person's going to kick up. Okay, yep, we've messed this up. So we're going to definitely lose this first rocket. Oh man, all of our stuff is dying because we're not paying enough attention. Oh gosh. Hey, Sullivan Dark, how's it going? We're just being appalling at this game. So you'll see that our Shockwave troopers... Okay, well, our Shockwave troopers definitely beat up their missile guys, but when it comes to other way around, not so good. So we're going to need to wait for that little laser thing to calm down a bit. Otherwise it will kill us straight away. So there's a lot of different units in this game. And they all have sort of different interactions with each other. Let's... This game's very intense. Ah! Alright, we just lost. Oh, jeez, Chomsky. Chomsky, have a little class. Have a little class. Alright, so we got absolutely nailed there. So let's go back and I'll go over the replay to tell you all of the different ways that I lost in that game. So the first thing was that there's actually a relatively decent amount of variety in how you approach the game. So for example, Chomsky and other guys who've played Rivals before, played Command & Conquer before, you normally expect that you would start with, Rifleman. That would be, the start if you wanted to scout, but there's actually some variety in terms of what you can build, or sort of routes you can go with your army. So you can go, the War Factory is slightly more expensive than the Barracks, but you can also build 10 cost units out of there, which are function as scouts, the War Dogs. The difference between, say, Riflemen and War Dogs is that while Riflemen are super vulnerable to these Flame Trooper guys, or Shockwave Troopers, the equivalent, the War Dogs are actually vulnerable to missile troops because they're considered to be vehicles. So what did I do well here? Jump Jet Troopers, I went over to pressure his hub, so that was good. I probably wanted to try and make this game as short as possible because my deck is an early game deck. But because we've both got possession of one of these pads, the missile's not charging. So in an ideal world, what I do is I send my Jump Jet Troopers over here to pressure his Harvester. And then when they bring their troops back to deal with that, I then go and take the pads and take the first missile. As it was, I didn't do that, and instead I just kind of messed up everything. This Giggle Cannon, or Giga Cannon as it's more properly known, has a charging up attack, but once it gets charged up properly, it just murders everything, any land unit within 2 squares. Mostly vehicles, but still, once it gets going, once it's fully charged up, it can basically kill anything. So what I try and do here is I try and provide some space for my missile launcher, the MRLS, to get in and shoot, which is probably okay, but both of them end up dying. So honestly, I didn't even know what I was doing this game, and I got destroyed. But that's another strategic part of the game, is a lot of it is about pressuring your opponent. So your opponent can only decide to do so many things at a given time. So ideally, you give them more to deal with than they can actually do. What else is there? What other kind of facets are there? Oh, also, you'll notice that when a unit is already on a platform or similar, it gets to shoot the opposition before the opposition gets to shoot it. You'll see like a couple of shots will come off before the first missile. So taking the initiative in the game is pretty important. Also, man, I messed up so many things in here. Ah! But yeah, there's a lot of skill expression. Yeah, initiative bonus I guess is a reasonable way of putting it. You order crates as well, which are basically you get fuel for playing games, and you can use that fuel to order in small like rewards. Alright, let's try it again. I think what we did good from last time round was that we tried to take the initiative by sending out some Jump Jet guys to harass the Harvester. What we didn't do so well was actually make it best use of that. So this time, we build the War Factory, we get War Dogs, they're pretty good scouts, and we've still got enough to build our Harvester. So there we go, we're looking to see what they've built first. So they built Flame Troopers, which is surprising. So our War Dogs do pretty well against them. In fact, what we'll do is we'll try and capture this point a little bit. And then also hit their Harvesters, because our guys are super cheap. Okay, so I think... There we go, so there's the Harvester. I built a Pitbull with a little anti-vehicle vehicle. Alright, so... other stuff you can do is, because certain units have the ability to fire while moving, you can move your units through your... move some of your units, sorry, through your other units. I'll try and demonstrate this. Oops, I've lost them at first. I was too busy talking about stuff. So what you can do with... there's an ability called Raider that some units have, which lets them fire on the move. So an advanced maneuver you can do is to move one of your units with Raider through your existing unit,
Unit lost.
which makes it very hard for them to target you. Oh gosh.
Ready.
So our opponent here is trying to harass our harvester. So we'll move it to somewhere a little bit more defensible. Put our guy in there. Oh, pants for messing up.
Building online.
So we got a harvester each, and also by accident I got the rocket. Excellent. We're amazing at video games.
Unit lost.
All right, so we'll keep our guys out in the field. We probably need some more. So these are Talon. Yes, streaming and talking at the same time is probably not the most sensible of maneuvers.
Lost. Unit lost.
So but we've actually got a pretty decent advantage with our attack choppers because
Unit lost.
they're pretty cheap for what they are,
Ready.
and so we can spam them out. Ideally, we want to be going 2v1. So this is
Nuclear weapon.
pants. We messed it up. Oh well, we lost again. So yeah, I guess this is relatively basic stuff, but to be honest, for me, it was still worth reiterating. So ideally, say you've got Unit A and Unit B, and they're punching each other. So if Unit A is stronger than Unit B, then they'll win. But if you can get, what you can do is if say Unit B is significantly weaker than Unit A, if you get 2 instances of Unit B fighting Unit A at the same time, then that's a lot better. It's not just a case of Unit B being twice as strong, but it kind of makes them about 3 times as strong, because one of those Unit Bs
Received.
will not be taking damage. And so you get... Oh, hello. So this person's going for a rush.
Unit ready.
What they don't realise is that we haven't actually got anything. Haha! Where's cunning?
Harvester ready.
I don't know if we've played this out properly, actually. I think, yeah, we could get smashed. Quick, let's go somewhere else. So, oh man, because our harvester isn't harvesting, we're not getting any money.
Unit ready.
And so we're going to get pounded.
Harvester lost.
Yep, we probably lost this game already. Wow, it did not play that well at all. I probably just needed... That was probably one of those instances where I just shouldn't have built a harvester at all.
Unit ready. Unit
Because I lost more... Oh gosh, I lost a rocket as well.
structural damage.
I swear, like, I've gotten to Diamond 1. I'm not the worst player at this game, but maybe that's just not true. Maybe I officially am the worst. Alright, so by kind of moving forward with our guides as a line, we cut off the possibility for Dead Bob to just move in and take our harvesters.
Unit ready.
So we need to maneuver around in such a way that we keep
Unit ready.
our guys alive while
Unit ready.
contesting theirs. So there we go. That's a straight mistake. Okay, so here's another aspect of the game that's kind of fun. Is you can body block people from getting onto the pad. So by moving like this, it stops the other side from getting on. So this means that we'll most likely get this second missile just because they stepped off of the pad.
Launched. Unit ready.
A nice thing as well is that even my basic units here, like of my shockwave troopers, are still useful against high level units as well.
Unit ready.
So these are zone troopers, elite infantry.
Unit lost.
And shockwave troopers are still extremely good against them. I think we're going to lose.
Nuclear warhead.
We are going to lose. Oh well, but we did better this time round. I think we're getting a little bit adjusted to the idea of thinking out loud and also not immediately screwing up. So let's show you guys. Yeah, I made a complete mess of things. Let's show you guys a little bit of Nod. So the Giga Cannon, which we've been getting beaten up by, is one of my favorite units. So this is a super early game deck. If we don't get the first 2 missiles with this deck, which has loads of early game units, we're basically screwed unless we try something really weird. So again, get a cheap scouting unit, because what we're really looking for here is to see if our opponent has built anything weird early. Nope, they built rocket guys, or laser troopers as they're called for Nod, which are pretty good at dealing with harvesters, but not so good at dealing with units. So what we can do here as a little trick is the militia are very cheap and not very good, but they work very well to negate the defender's advantage. So as mentioned before, oh actually no, let's back off of that. If you're standing still and the other person approaches you, then you get 2 shots off. So let's give that. Oh, pants messed it up. Oh gosh. Well, I think we've lost again. Alright. So we're in a really, really bad situation here. It's probably recoverable. It's worth noting that our militia guys are literally worth like a quarter. Alright, so this is our get out of jail free card, which is this Giga Cannon. So the Giga Cannon has got 2 range, which means that it vastly outranges anything they've got, and even though it's technically not an infantry counter, it still works relatively well, just because, as you can see, the flame guys can't even hit it, because it's that far away. So let's start getting out some more stuff. Oh, I guess we're not actually really a super early game deck. So here are the attack bikes, they're pretty good, but you notice we're in a concave here, so this line, so anytime our opponent wants to come onto the pad, they have to step directly in between multiple versions of our units, which is not so good for them. So we're trying to set up a situation in which we always have the advantage, and as we see, our Giga Cannon now is fully online, which means it's just tearing through everything. So we've got our... Oh, I've completely forgotten to mention this before, but we've got special commander abilities, which are specific things that we can choose one commander in the game, and that gives you a special ability. So my guy is Seth, and his special ability is that he can spawn flame troopers. Ooh, hello. So that's the flame tank, which is pretty obnoxious. Oh, that's nice of them. They're going to move their flame tank into a position where I can just kill them instantly. Brilliant. Alright, so let's just be aggressive. Hooray, we won a game! Gosh. So, I think in this game, generally speaking, being more aggressive is better than not being more aggressive. I'll probably do my bounties properly a little later on today. So yeah, a couple more explanations of things. So the main way you get stuff is you complete various different like micro missions. So in this case, it's just build a bunch of different stuff, and you can re-roll them if you want to. Fuel is a resource, but you get two fuel for winning a game, and 1 for just playing a game. 1 for losing a game, I suppose. So it's relatively alright. Let's see what the stuff we've got going on. Alright, well we've got about time for one more game before I switch across to Modern Combat 5. So let's give it another try with these ones. So, something is a little bit confusing when you first watch the game as well is it's not apparent whether or not putting more people on these pads does anything. And it doesn't directly, it's just the more, you know, if it's contested, it's contested. If it's entirely one side, it's entirely one side. Alright. So we still don't know what they're going for. They haven't actually built a building yet, which would give us a better indication of what they're doing. But they haven't done anything at all yet, which is a little worrying. People who don't do anything tend to be doing something. Either they're being sneaky in some fashion. Okay, they're building aircraft. Fortunately, Nod bikes are pretty good at dealing with aircraft. So there's a lot of micro. I'll probably play on PC Hunter. As you can see, there's a lot of micro going on. In terms of where you send a unit at any given moment. Because you're trying to make sure that your unit counters are always fighting against the thing that they're good at. Good against, rather. Whereas it's very easy, if you're not microing, to end up with your units. Okay, so there we go. Our opponent's building 2 harvesters, which means they're probably going for, there we go, heavy tech units, which are the higher tier units. So we're going to get some flame guys. So we don't want our giggle cannon to get taken out. So our flame guys are still, even though they're only low tier units, they're still actually pretty good at dealing with these. Which I think I'm going to mess stuff up here. Oh, but I won anyway. There you go. You can. I've won a fair few games just by accident, and I think that's going to be one of them. Okay, in which case, I'm just going to switch across to something a little bit, change out one of my units, one of the other units, just to show off the whole Raider thing. So I talked about this a little bit earlier on in the stream, which is that there's a lot of mechanical skill that you can display while playing the game, and stacking, I believe, is the term which people have come up with for using... I mean, I know I'm kind of immediately getting into relatively advanced tactical stuff, but you can move one of your raiding units, as in a unit that can fire on the move, through your other units to kind of provide cover for them. And if it's executed correctly, it's extremely annoying for your opposition because it means that they then can't actually target you properly. And there's definitely a lot to be said about the mechanics in the game. Walking in Tiberium, as you might expect, if you're a long-time CNC player, not such a good idea. Okay, they're going for war factory stuff. So they've built infantry and they've also built vehicles, which is traditionally... well, it costs... Each time you build a production facility, it costs Tiberium. And so diverging to a couple of different ways of doing stuff. Oh, there you go. That's another commander ability. So the turret is strong arms ability, which is our current opponent. So we want to keep our Giga Cannon alive. Build some flame troopers to help send down there. So because our guy's got 2 range, Oh man. We are messing this up. Okay. We need to... Well, yeah, again, a lot of the stuff is just trying to get the right units in the right place against the right other units. Oh man, I'm getting smashed. Something that's worth noting is that even the low tier units can do something to the higher tier units, which is one of the things which makes it a little bit more new player friendly. Is that, oh man, we're gonna lose. Is that even the basic units can do something to the strong units. I would say one of the caveats about playing the game as a free-to-play player, if you don't want to spend money on the game, is that there are such a thing as unit levels. That's something that's definitely worth talking about if you are seriously thinking about picking this one up. So the way the free-to-play model works is that you get crates, so I'll get one here, and you get a certain amount of stuff out of that crate. So you get cards, and for different kinds of things, you get normal, rare, and epic. And then you'll start off with, say, a level 1 version of unit, and you can spend gold, or credits, I guess, to upgrade it, like this, boink. And then once you've leveled up 3 times, you can then officially level up, which is a big boost. But you need to have enough cards to be able to do that, or, yeah, cards I suppose is the right term. And that can take quite a long time to get if you don't buy any of the gems which are the premium currency. If you are very, very good at the game, then you get a certain amount of stuff for leveling up. So for example, if I get to Master League, I would get 3 big crates and a bunch of experience points. And you also get stuff for leveling up. So if you've got enough patience with the game, you can just do the daily quests, which give you a good chunk of experience. And then you'll eventually level up, but it will take a long time. It's the kind of game that if you're happy with just playing like 10 games a day, which is, I get the impression is what they intend, because they don't want, like, kind of, you know, you've got these quests which give you, you know, a bunch of experience and a bunch of gold. And there isn't a huge amount of incentive to actually play the game beyond fulfilling these quests, because you don't get any kind of reward at all unless you can level up between divisions. So in some respects that's kind of good, because it encourages you to just play the game for like half an hour a day maximum. And then you can just be like, okay, I don't need to do any more, I'm done with it. Because there's a lot of games where they kind of encourage you to play it for hours and hours on end, even though it's a mobile game. And that kind of sucks, whereas games in Rivals are very, very short. You know, like 5 minutes long, if that. So it's relatively easy to knock out a game or two, like whenever you've got a few minutes spare. And yeah. So I guess overall, it's a lot better game than it needed to be. And while you will get beaten up by people who've got higher level stuff than you, I'd say that's probably about, if you know how to play against people with higher level stuff, and you're better than them, then you can still win. It's just harder. I've been playing at diamond level, which I've been playing at the moment. I haven't actually been coming across many people with units that are significantly different levels than mine. But once I get up to master tier, then I probably will. Because they've each got different unit caps, so theoretically someone could have level 11 units, but I really don't see that very often. Because it takes a long time to level up. I think level 8 is what most people have, and then to get to level 9 it's like twice as expensive, and then to level 10 it's going to be twice as expensive again. So there's a kind of, you know, it drops off unless you're a streamer who've been playing it since beta. It takes a long time for the average level of players' units to keep going up. And at Tiberium League, you get up to the maximum cap, which is level 15. If there's one guy who's gotten that already, and they spent several $1,000s on the game, which is not very smart, I feel, because I kind of feel like you need to be very good at the game and then decide to spend money rather than the other way around, because they've got really high level units, but they're not very good. So yeah, it's not so good. Yeah, if any of you guys like strategic games, I would definitely recommend giving Rivals a try. I think the free-to-play model is reasonable, considering, like, it's a little annoying when you lose the people who just have better stuff than you do, but generally speaking, you can win by just playing better than them. That's not obviously a guarantee that you will be able to, but I guess it's some sort of comfort that, like, if you just become a lot better than other people, then you can climb. Other stuff is there's loads of YouTube videos about this game. Xscoundrel and Captain Benzie are people you can find on YouTube. They've got great beginner videos about the game. They'll do a much better job of explaining everything that I do, and also about sort of basic tactics, which will make you win a lot more games than you would at a low level. But yeah, that's about it. I'm going to probably try and do some more Rivals streaming, because it's a scene which I'd like to get into. As I said, right back at the beginning of the stream, they're about to unleash a vastly improved spectator mode for the game. So I'm hoping that it's got some decent esports potential in it, because it's actually very competitive and it's also very short, which I think is a very good combination of things to be. You know, it's a game where you can see there's a lot of obvious skill on display and strategy involved, but it doesn't take a long time. So yeah, pretty good. Alright, so I'm going to cut the stream. I'm going to shut the stream down for a second while I get set up for MC5. I'll be back in a couple of minutes with our second part of the stream. We're looking to start Yakuza in approximately an hour, so I'll play MC5 for the duration, and if any of you guys are playing on PC, then you can come and join me. Alright, BRB.